Hello, members and friends. Okay, so we're going back to my channel being wiped out here. I want to point this out. When people get a chance, they should just, put this on the side and maybe take a time, once in a while here and there to listen to this stuff, because, it's quite important. And I got to think and do this at the same time, right? Some of it's a little boring. Some of it I talk on, as you can hear, right? I talk about, poverty of the mind and the entitlement mentality and just some of the things that go on in our community, right? But, so this one is BC Parliament House 13, number 42. I have here, I'm obviously up to number 42. I still have to do 43, 44, and then, those ones there. And, I actually got 67 videos, so, I'm taking this computer back probably Wednesday or Thursday.
You expect everybody else to get over their shit. You need to
right?
get over your shit,
so,
right?
But before I do that, I said I would,
listen, and at least they want to hear some new information.
I said I'd feature some other people's pages.
Hey?
Here's Golf
My dad's sitting at the table
44 Golf's Water Channel.
Brings him back to the old days.
And
you can blame him for me being a
just give you an idea of what it looks like.
For him needling me on, I'll tell you, I wouldn't be here today, right?
Just trying.
Only because he worked.
I have to do a balancing act with this.
Tell me all the stories, right? So now I know.
There we go.
And I used to play there too. Maybe that might have something to do with it, because as a kid, I used to run around wild just like I did up at the ocean, right? I'd be running around up there by the waterfall where the ice glacier smoothed over the rock, and they put a little waterfall with a memorial on that, this ice glacier age rock, right? Feed the ducks in Beacon Hill Park. Go off into on Dallas Road, up along the water breaker, right to the very end. 9 years old, running around the water breaker. That's where I'd be ducking.
I'm kind of tired, so I don't know how much I want to talk here. Again, we're just going to feature some other channels for a moment. This is up in Florida. This video was just recently uploaded. I haven't seen this one. Oh wait, no, this one's September 17th. But I think they have a newer one here. 1 year ago, let's see. See y'all. What do we got here? 10 months ago, 1 year ago. 5 days ago. Here's 5 days ago. Pointing out the oil that's still washing up because it got sunk in the with the Corexit. So when something goes down, it has to come up through the water. Through the ocean. It's gonna be is washing in the bottom, and it's coming up anyway. And this is to document that. And this was 5 days ago. It says, "Take a walk with me, Pensacola Beach." This is what the wildlife has to deal with day after day. Maybe not the humans. The humans, they go out there and, they have their little picnic and, they make their sandcastle if it doesn't look too bad, right? But every day the animals are out there. And, the people that care are out there and, they're obviously documenting, which is good, and they need to. I don't know how we're going to document on the west coast of Canada. I mean, we're going to have to go out there with Geiger counters, but it's already been suggested that, if they find Derbis washing up on shore, call the police, and the police will come with the Geiger counter before you touch it. So, people aren't getting, zapped with radiation, high concentration, because it's not something you can see, So, we've got the east coast of the United States and upper part of Canada, being polluted with this Corexit and, millions and billions of tons of crude oil, and we have, you know, the west coast of Canada and the United States, you know, being polluted with high concentrations of radiation. So, you know, we need to find a middle ground, and I'm working on that. I'm actually networking with some people, you know, one lady in particular. I'm not going to mention any names at this point. We're just going to wait and see what happens. You know, things take time, right? It takes time to establish trust, and you know, I've been working hard on that, and I've really put myself out there on YouTube to show people that I'm just a regular, everyday kind of gal. You know, got my problems like everybody else, and you know, but you know, I'm fighting hard for the kids. I'm fighting hard for the families. I'm fighting hard for the wildlife. You know, I'm fighting hard for communities. You know, and I know there's people out there like that with me, and I think it's just a matter of time before, like me. You know, I think it's just a matter of time before we start partnering up, and you know, we're going to put some spin on this. Huh? I think so. Because this is sad to see. You know, this happened in 2010, right? And we're in like 2012. We're coming up to the 2-year mark here. But this is no surprise. You know. And, you know, it would be interesting to really gather up some raw numbers in terms of how much the wildlife was impacted and to what degree, and you know, how the families, you know, overall in general were impacted. You know, the fishermen, the crabbers, you know, the people that actually, you know, were a part of the ocean, right? You know, my mother was a fisherman. She liked to go out and catch sole and all those things. She drank 99% moonshine, and, you know, I sprinkled her ashes out in the ocean. I played by the ocean, but I can't say I've ever been a fisherman or a crabber or, you know, something like that. But needless to say, you know, these people's lives have been severely affected, and so we need to keep that in mind as well. So 44 Gulf Waters, you know, their channel is going to be wiped out soon too. You know, I'm fortunate. I have a website I can work on. So I think that's where I'm going to try and invest some of my energy and time, and kind of clean it up a little bit. My HTML skills are limited, so there's only so much that I can do. But, you know, and my family, they keep me pretty busy. You know, they're not very sensitive to my workload. But that's not to say that, you know, after YouTube kind of downsizes me into a prison cell, you know, I'm going to want to decorate where I can find freedom. So, I know, that's what I'm going to do. And I will probably import, you know, some of these videos that I come across, such as this one, and, you know, build it into the format so that we don't lose sight of what's going on in our communities, whether on the East Coast or whether on the West Coast, or in, you know, many cases even in the middle, because we've got tornadoes and, you know, there's all kinds of things happening. You know, there's oil spills up in Michigan, and, you know, it's everywhere, right? Alaska, so, you know, Alberta, we got tar sands, that there's big controversy going on in there. So, yeah, let's do this. Hold on. I'm holding the camera, kind of straining my back, but that's okay. I'm up for this, right? I've been working on the house, clearing out this computer, you know, getting it ready to go back to the store. I don't understand how you can pay all this money and end up getting some computer that's, you know, not working properly, but it happens sometimes. So before we do that, though, I want to do this because we're on the 5th day. So really, I've only got today and tomorrow, so I won't be uploading these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer them onto my other computer, which I've already put a million other videos onto my external hard drive, so I've freed up a lot of, space, right? So I can transport these onto my other computer and wait for this one to come back before I start uploading. I'm not going to edit, it's on the fly, right? Even though they gave me 15 minutes and more, I don't know why they would do that. I don't feel like I got, anything special. I'm okay with the 15 minutes. People's attention spans are quite limited, so, every now and then I might throw in something there, but my editing skills, they're not that good, so I don't really have time for that, so this is the best that I can do. But you can see that they have lots of videos here, and these are videos that they made. It's very discolored beach. What was once a pristine white, right? From my understanding, Pensacola Beach was very white. The sand was well washed. Very few rocks. A place where you find sand dollars and those kind of beaches, right? Sand dollars only like a certain kind of sand, Up on the island in Victoria, if the further you go up into Qualicum, places like that, you'll find, white beaches, maybe not as white as Pensacola Beach, but you'll find the really sandy beach where, one morning you'll get up and, there's a million sand dollars out there, or starfish. Not so much starfish. Starfish like to cling on to things, but sand dollars, definitely sand dollars. I used to play with sand dollars when I was a kid, when my mother used to take me up to the, up on the island. But here you can see, and this is just 5 days ago, right? So there's nothing clean about this. This is the oil, the Corexic, and just, the dead animal mass, because, they had whole dead zones where there was a biodegradable muck, miles and miles thick and long and deep and wide, that was just grabbing onto everything as it was going through the ocean, and it was like a suction cup that was pulling in anything that was alive and came into contact with it, and then it would just rot with everything else that was rotting in there. So some of this stuff could be this. We don't hear about it on the news, obviously, because it affects tourism, right? It's politics, right? But, and also, too, companies have to take responsibility for the damage that they cause on a large scale. So, this proves that some of that guck, perhaps one day I'll look for a link and I'll come back and I'll add it into this channel. I'd have to go back into Black Planet and, get into some old message boards. Black Planet's pretty good. They tend to keep their message boards up and running. Even though it's kind of, people have moved on, whatever. If you want, you can still go back and find the information. And that's when I did a lot of reading back in those days, and I'd be popping down links like it was a card game. Oh, that's a pretty lady, right? And, all right.